Professor M.N. Venkatesha will now speak on the Mailaralinga mythology, Mailaralinga Jati Purana, and the general issue of Jati.
Good morning to everyone. I'm extremely happy to be with you all during this Indica Symposium. When I saw the flyer, I could not resist myself of saluting Lord Narasimha. So I began with Ugram Veeram Mahavishnam, Yalantam Sarvatomkham Narasimham Vishnam Bhadram, Mrityu Mrityu Namamya. The flyer actually consists the icon of God. Okay, good morning everybody. I am very happy to be with you, a highly respected friend of a long time, Dr. Nagaraj Paturi, who has invited me for this with the same affection that we had at our field work at Allur, Adoni, Gattumalanna, Krantinagar, etc. with Professor Peter J. Class and all my co-speakers, okay, dear participants of this symposium. I am happy to be with you. I am highly grateful to Indica for your warm invitation and making me a part of the symposium. I am happy to be with my colleague, Professor P. Subachari. Do you feel it is so easy to speak soon after the speech of Professor P. Subachari? Because when he starts giving ideas, information, data, he will leave no point. He will cover almost every point related to this particular item. He is such a voracious orator and brings information from the field. So I am happy to be listening to him also. Professor Subachari and myself were colleagues for the past 20 years, and I know him even from the days much earlier to this. I am happy that Dr. Nagaraj, we are conducting this symposium on Jati Puranas to understand the concept of Jati in the contemporary society. So it's good because it is having a stigma and it is having a function in the society. So I think it is time to discuss both these matters. Thanks to all organizers, and now I will come to my area of discussion. That is interconnection between castes and inquiry into Mailaralinga tradition. I would like to bring two issues for discussion in this symposium. The first one is how the society is structured with a different castes as a single system. The second one is how these castes are interconnected, though they voluntarily kept away from each other. There are some sort of interconnectivity between the castes. So that also I wanted to bring to your attention. I think many of the things what I am speaking, it is known to everybody because all of us are living in this Indian society, and understanding Indian society certainly needs to understand this caste system, which is having social hierarchy, which is having social stratification. In spite of that, while we are entering through folk epics or oral epics, when we are trying to understand the ritual practices of different deities here, I would like to give three different types of categories of deities. One is of pan-Indian category, maybe Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, or what we actually look at the Sanskrit literature. That's one particular type, canonical type of text of things. The other one is the deities which are actually in the form of mud, in the form of serpent, in the form of a tree, in the form of a stone. Many times, a shapeless, but an object identified or integrated in an object, the establishment of a particular type of deity. That's one type. Then they are coming to the deities of pastoral communities. Because rural, urban, tribal, these communities, these words we are using actually. I say I am using all these words in the concept of sociological studies. So there actually, in pastoral communities, we are actually coming across a different type of set of deities. So I'm actually coming one by one. In the contemporary Indian society, the concept of caste is being explained with a stigma. Caste is a group identity. Normally, the identity expresses unique characteristics. Who actually considers identity? This is one particular fact. Who I am having some name. Then I am having some caste background. I am having some lineage. I am having something, etc., etc. It is important for who? Whether it is important for me or to recognize me by others. So this group identity, normally it's actually the identity which actually described to that particular society or community from the others. Therefore, when you are considering this caste is for the purpose of others to understand who they are. When others are understanding a particular caste, it is up to them to consider this as low or high. Another particular point is why they consider it as high, why they consider it low. It is also because of their requirement or their understanding or their worldview. Therefore, understanding caste system is not such an easy fact also. So group identity is normally assigned by outsiders, but in Indian caste system, this identity has evolved along with evolution of humankind. Therefore, at the process of socialization, at the process of civilization, at the process of establishment of villages, towns, etc., when the hunters, they wanted to settle their life, then they become shift cultivators, then shift cultivators to land owners. In this process, this caste system is also established. Therefore, we cannot say caste is assigned by others, but it's a group identity. Again, it's a social system also. It's a pattern of classification of communities. There are different theories how this caste system is being emerged. I'm not discussing these things. I'm going one line structure of establishment of caste system, which appears to be derived from traditional occupation. As Nagaraj in the beginning itself told, earlier these are actually considered as the traditional occupations, but later they actually fixed as caste. So for that also, we have to see how this establishment has been. See, when I look at the farmers community, the traditional farmers or the modern farmers in the situation, farming cannot be done by one particular community alone. A particular community in Karnataka, Gauda community, Okalige Gauda community, who are actually landowners for a long time, and also even now majority of them are actually tilling the land. There are many castes run around this particular caste. They are having different type of jobs which are actually to be supporting this agriculture, but they are not supposed to touch the mud. So farmer works with mud, plows the earth, uses the bullocks for plowing, etc., etc. So this is one particular caste. There are many other castes. For example, Brahmins. Their duty is to predict when rain comes. He has to tell to the farmer so that he can start his agricultural activity. Then again, if rain is not coming, then also it is the duty of the Brahmin to conduct some sort of Parjanya Japa or something and to make the land get wet. So this is a sort of having communication with the required deities and the person who needs it for his land, so his immediate. But there are some other sort of occupations. A plow is required for the purpose of tilling. Okay, this farmer is not having enough time to do that plow. So he needs a carpenter to do it. Yes, carpenter will do it. It's not so sharp. It's not so hard at the tip. So a blacksmith is required actually to prepare the axle, sickle, or other agricultural implements. So blacksmith is working with iron and he will prepare. So okay, leisure time is there, free time is there, ornaments are required to decorate himself. A goldsmith will be there. To prepare the food and other things for our daily purposes, a potter is required. Because a pot is very essential in our daily life. Of course, today we are having utensils of different types of metals. But consider rural agrarian society, even in this 21st century in India, many of them are using actually pots. So potters are there. Kanchugaras are there, the metal workers. Similarly, transportation is also one of the very important things. So boatmen will be there because many of the villages are covered by water, particularly some rivers covering them, bringing them distance between two neighboring villages. So in such cases, to cross the river and other things, boatmen are required. Even shaving, cleaning hair, etc., communities are there. There are dead bodies in the community. Maybe dead cow, dead ox, dead bullock, etc. To remove them, a community is required. So all are actually doing their work, and at the end, when the farmer gets some sort of grains from his land, he has to put it in canal, and there actually the Rashi should be divided into different people with proportionate shares. Because this proportionate share is given to different type of community people because they all did some work for the purpose of farmer. So this is actually one established structure in the villages. So here, every caste is doing their job. Every caste is actually mutually supporting the other caste, either by giving the grain or by giving some sort of service. So interrelationship is there. But days passed, centuries completed, stigmas actually entered. So since they are touching that mud, they actually stood in the middle. Whereas those who actually communicating with the deities, gods, so they are looking up and they started looking up about themselves. So society also considers they are of greater origin. So superiority has indulged to some particular community. Since some communities are removing the dead bodies, works with the leather, etc., etc., untouchability is actually attached to those particular communities. This is a known theory. Of course, now the real question arises. There are certain pastoral communities which stands away from all these caste structure. Nowadays, what is happening is many of the tribal communities which are living in the midst of the forest, by utilizing the forest products, they started entering to the village. They wanted to settle down. When they wanted to settle down, This village caste hierarchy system doesn't allow them to enter so easily into it. They have to fix themselves equal to some of the communities which are actually already set the social stratification or social hierarchy. So therefore, they are actually trying to adjust themselves, having some sort of connections, relations with some sort of community. This is sort of process actually. Some social change is also taking place. Some lower community is getting some sort of higher position, etc., etc. You can see some particular communities at pan-Indian level. In one state, they may have SC status. In some other community, as in some other state, it may have ST status. For example, Lamani is in Andhra Pradesh ST, scheduled tribe, whereas in Karnataka it is SC. So something like that. Such changes also will be there. So the untouchability also, it is being defined by with what items they are actually working with. Social stratification is being established further, and slowly all these traditional occupational communities became caste with their own hierarchy. Okay, this is one particular point. I don't want to elaborate much on this. When traditional occupational communities fixes their status in the society, two things came into existence as a system in the society. One is land ownership, the other one is caste discrimination. So a few people actually becomes dominant. They declared that they are the owners of the land, and the other communities are supposed to be follow their words because they are serving here for the first time. The serve means they are born to serve. That sort of concept is being established. Therefore, a concept of superiority and inferiority, or dominant and predominant, all such ideologies actually started working in the society. But the communities are actually not thinking in the same way. For every person, his birth is great. For every person, his father and mother are great. And they actually live for the esteem maintenance of such great. Similarly, every caste start feeling that whether we are having a history, every caste actually start thinking why we are inferior to others. So actually, every pastoral community, if you see, they are having some sort of oral epics with them. This oral literature, if we go on analyzing such oral epics, we can understand their fights, their pathetic situations, their life conditions, their fights and struggles for existence, and also how they actually reconstructed their life structure in a changed scenario. That also we can see. The pastoral communities, semi-nomadic tribes, and nomadic forest tribes also attempted for some sort of settled lifestyles. Here I am taking the case of Mailaralinga. Mailaralinga tradition is established in such situation. The epic of Jinjappa Kadugalas of Karnataka established to document the fights between established landowners and wandering nomadic cowherds who wanted to settle at a place. So here I would like to elaborate the story of Mailaralinga also to small extent. See, there are communities, some are pastoralists, some are settled agriculturists, some living in the village system, some are not living in the village system. See, when you are settled in a village system, you are having a set code of conduct, set belief systems, set way of life. See, when you are living in the forest, strength is the main requirement. Fighting should be the main spirit. And who is the fittest to survive, he will survive in that particular place. But you are getting everything from the nature. Without spoiling the nature, the tribal communities actually uses the forest products and they will live along with the other creatures in the forest. But in the village, it's not the system. When you feel that you want this, so you will change the requirements. You will try to get the things done. For example, if you want to grow paddy, you will till the land. It's not natural. You will pour the seeds, which is not actually from the air or wind. You are manually pouring it. So you are making, you are adding manure, which is required. You control water, how much should be added, how much should be given. Everything will be controlled, and it is time oriented, calendar based, and you are actually fixing a lifestyle there. Not only for you, for your environment also. You are not allowing to change that environment. If any change is there, you will bring back by artificial conditions. So this is actually village system in pastoralists or forest living people system. Okay, these pastoralists, Mailaralinga represents pastoralist community, shepherd community. He actually, the epic of Mailaralinga, it is related to 3 states: Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Maharashtra. The Khandoba of Maharashtra, Mailaralinga of Karnataka, Mallana of Andhra Pradesh, they are almost same. There will be two-folded invasion of these pastoralists in Karnataka on shift cultivating agriculturists. See, these Dangars are shepherds from Maharashtra and also from Andhra Pradesh side. Because see, these cowards are shepherds, they have to move all the time. According to the regional changes, particularly seasonal changes, they are supposed to move from one place to another place. So in that way, they are actually interacting with the different village people. But when they want to settle down, it doesn't actually appears good to the communities already settled. This Mailaralinga story tells like this. He actually fought with a particular demon called Mallasura, Manikasura. Lord Shiva came down in the form of Marthanda Bhairava to slay these demons. After slaying, he actually settled in that particular place. In Gattumallanna, we heard the same story. In Karnataka Mailara, we are hearing the same story. In Devargudda, it is like that. In Pali Jejuri also, the story is almost similar to this. But there are many other sub-stories. See, Mailara wanted to kill Mallasura. Mallasura is nothing but Mallana Gowda. Okay. Mallasura is very strong person. You cannot attack him directly. Mailara is a trickster hero. When Mailara is a trickster hero, he took a different type of ideology. He kidnapped Komali, a woman from the demon's family. Then the family gets, actually, they got angry and they came for a war. So, Mailaralinga made these demons to come to his place for fighting. By that time, he took the help of Lord Timmappa, that is Venkatesha of Tirupati, and with 7 crores of Devaganas as soldiers to him, he fought, and in that invasion, Mallasura was slain. So this is actually the story. Story is a very long story. It will be told for about 10 to 15 days, even 30 days. But
Professor Venkatesha, Professor Venkatesha, can you come to the conclusion so that we can have some time for
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Sir, it is.
See, actually, when we analyze this particular story, it is not just the story of a demon is slayed by God. Because if we come to the realistic part of understanding this particular story, there should be two communities actually having fight. One related to Malasura or Mallana Gowda. Another community should be related to Mailara. See, this pastoral community, they actually fought against the shift cultivators. Malasura is actually represented by the shift cultivating people, because here the snatching of a woman is nothing but snatching of agriculture, the land. So there are certain discussions on this particular item, and such stories actually emerged during almost in the 8th century of this Indian history. So actually there are many such things to be discussed in this particular point. So the kidnap of Komali is a symbol of representation of snatching of land. The concept of establishing oral epics is having three major objectives to achieve. One is preservation of traditions, knowledge sources, transmission of knowledge, etc. are being transmitted in this particular item. Another one is protection. When there is harm from others, why it is so? So provides self-esteem. There are promotions also. Oral epics promotes the people to apply their traditional knowledge to the forthcoming generations. Utilization here. More scientific understanding of traditional knowledge becomes very, very important. Knowledge shines first and then the caste. This can be seen in fairs and festivals. Urmevar vaste, Gollaval procession begins. This is actually the case in Junjappa Jatra. Jati Puranas are best examples for preservation. There are normally these tales are told by dependent castes. For Gollas, there are Pichkuntals who are known as Hadavas in Karnataka. They sing the song of these particular deities. But in Gauravas are actually a subgroup of pastoralists, shepherds, kurbas. They are specifically initiated to do so. Through a initiation process, they actually considered as Gauravas. Among them, there are different type of devotees actually in Mailaralinga tradition. Among the Harijans, scheduled caste people, there are Madigas and Mallas, and among them there is one subcaste by name Kanchaviras. Some interesting information is there about these Kanchaviras. Kanchaviras are initiated to do some sort of awards, piercing iron tridents through hind legs or passing iron tridents to wrist, etc. Such type of ferocious services are they actually doing, and they believe that by shedding the blood, human blood, the demon souls are going to be appeased and there will be prosperity. So for that purpose, they are doing these type of things. These Kanchaviras are from Madigas only. But once they are initiated as Kanchaviras, they are considered as upper caste among the Madigas. They are becoming priestly classes. The special thing is, a Madiga girl can get married into Kanchavira boy. Whereas the Kanchavira boy cannot marry, a Kanchavira girl cannot marry a Madiga boy. The reverse is not possible. Here a sort of social upgradation is there for that community. And if a Madiga girl got married to a Kanchavira boy, and afterwards, when she returns to her mother's house, she will be treated as a superior in that particular house. If she drinks some coffee, she can give it to her mother to wash it. But if her mother drinks a coffee in a cup, this daughter who got married to Kanchavira she cannot wash that particular cup because some caste hierarchy, that social supremacy appears there also. Such type of small things are also there. These actually shows how discrimination of castes are even embedded in small regions, so that we can see. And see, for production, these tales are told in natural context. The story of Irana is there. Many different types of stories are being told. Actually, these stories are told to say how great they are actually. I think even Nagaran might have remember when we went to a field work, one story of Irana was told by one old lady. The lady told the story that there was a hero from pastoral community, Golla, and when he was in a forest pasturing his cows, a lady came actually, very beautiful lady from Asbida community, that is Boya's community, and she asked him to get married. But he rejects it. By the time her brothers came actually, and they asked what happened. She told something wrong, and they killed him. So they started worshipping this particular person. Asked that old lady, why you are worshipping? Because he has not fought anything. He has not done anything good to your community. Suddenly, the community people reacted. See, you are not understanding this story properly. See, this person did not get married, that particular lady belonged to Boya community. If he had married, our blood would have been corrupted. So he maintained the purity of our community. So like that, these type of stories are also being told. So I would like to conclude because time is up. The social mobility, it is main cause to establish these Jati Puranas particularly. Junjappa, when he wanted to graze his cattle in Palegars, that is local chieftains' lands, then they will oppose. Palegars will come and arrest all the cows, and they are ready to fight with Junjappa, etc. Then Junjappa asks, why you are actually making all this? They said, we put the fence. This fencing is telling that the land inside is ours. And if you want to graze the pasture there, then you have to pay tax to this. Then Junjappa questions. In that particular epic, it is very strong issue actually. There he questions, sun gives sunlight. Mother River actually brings good fertile soil to this particular place. Air actually brought the seeds, and Mother Earth, it grows these particular pastures, this grass. And I am allowing my cows to eat them. Who are you to put the fence? See, this is actually how a particular community feels its greatness and how it is getting the ability to question the other community which actually dominates over it. So a Brahminic cobbler work, there are so many other type of stories, but I don't want to take up all these things. But I would like to tell you this reaction from the community to the other communities which actually tries to distort the traditional practices or their supremacy, etc. It always hurts the community and it will react to it. Even now, I would like to bring one particular information. From Madhva community, you know, Madhva is considered to be one of the supreme power, actually, supreme personality who advocated this particular Madhva philosophy. But one person from Roque Mesquito, from Vienna University, Austria, he prepared one thesis stating that Madhva's thoughts are actually based on some just ideological things. There are no canonical texts which actually he quotes in his book. So his theory is baseless actually. Like that, he prepared one thesis and he published that thesis and got doctorate from Vienna University. Somehow I got that particular book and I got astonished since I know about the Madhva philosophy very well. And Vibhu Vacha, Badrayana Vacha, etc. We use that sentences. That to say that it is from the direct mouth of Lord. Lord Vishnu cannot speak because Lord Vishnu is a myth. So he cannot give all these statements, and there are no books, etc. Nardiya, Shiksha, Brahmatarka, etc. So many books, that 22 books he refers actually. I got astonished. I got it translated into Kannada. And I gave it to the Madhva scholars, well-known scholars of Karnataka, Dipralachar, Bandhanji Govindacharya, and so many other things. Some 8 to 10 people I gave. And I asked them to react to them. And we used this oral literary form factors. If Madhvacharya is actually giving some statements from one old canonic book, whether the same canonic book is referred by any other people, for example, his counterparts, Shankaracharya's students, or Ramanujacharya's students, or Bauddha, Shankar, etc., etc. And we searching all such things, and we got some examples. Through that, actually, we prepared a counter argument, and I contacted the Rocky Mosquito over the email, and I sent all these things in English again by translating. And ultimately, he accepted, yes, my limitations, my knowledge limitations are actually exposed now. I am understanding this. This philosophy is also equally important. So, and he wrote another book on this. Om Tatsu something has written.
Thank you, Professor Venkatesha. Can we now move on to the other speaker? Please conclude your talk.
Yeah. So, what I would like to tell you is, my simple understanding of this is, castes are actually part of Indian society. Each caste is considering itself as great, and it is considering it is having one particular origin, and that origin is actually linked to some sort of divine touch. So either from Shiva, Parvati, or from Vishnu or something. So it is actually coming from that particular item to this. So these skills are being told by some particular communities. They actually perform some sort of priestly rituals also for the community. So this system is there. Castes are interconnected in Indian agricultural society, but later, because of modern developments only, because of stigmas related to the occupations, social stratification has entered. So with this particular item, I would like to conclude my item. If any questions are there, I am happy to take up those things. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Venkatesha. Sorry for I think there is a broadband speed problem with which affected the audio and video of Professor Venkatesha badly. I think, but Professor Venkatesha has many publications to his credit. He will share the link to where these publications are uploaded. You may visit those publications to get answers for further questions.